Let's look at this simple sentence. It will rain, so we will close the window. The most common way to say this with から is 雨が降るから閉める. Notice that we use the plain form for the reason 雨が降る and then a casual ending 閉める. And the most common way to say this with ので is 雨が降るので閉めます. Here, the reason is in plain form 雨が降る but the ending is formal 閉めます. Now, it's grammatically correct to use the long form before から or ので. And also, we can use a formal ending after から and a casual ending after ので. So even just to say, it will rain, so we will close, there are quite a few different ways to say it. So we're going to sort this from formal to casual and talk about how they are actually used in real life. But before that, I'll quickly take out a few versions that aren't really used in everyday conversation. Now let's sort them. So we've sorted from formal to casual. Let's start from the top. 雨が降りますので閉めます. This uses a long-form reason and a formal ending. And this is the most formal and polite combination. In business settings, you'll often hear this form. But in real life, we usually use extra polite form. So in general, this version is used to give a reason to customers or someone in a very high position. Next is 雨が降るので閉めます. This is a plain form reason and a formal ending. As I mentioned, this is the most natural in everyday polite conversation. So if it's someone you normally speak politely to, this version is the most natural and the safest. In general, we use this when giving a reason to strangers, supervisors, senpai, or friends' parents, and so on. Next is 雨が降りますから閉めます. This uses a long-form reason and formal ending, so it might feel polite at first, but because it uses から, it sounds direct and confident. It depends on the speaker's personality, but I wouldn't recommend this version when giving a reason to someone older or in a higher position, especially if you want to be on the safe side. Some typical examples of this version that I see is when someone in a position of authority is giving a reason, like a teacher talking to a student, a doctor to a patient, or a boss to their team. It's like they're confident in their reasoning, but just keeping things polite and formal. Next is 雨が降るから閉めます. This version also ends in formal speech, but it uses から to give the reason. So again, I wouldn't recommend it in formal situations or when you want to sound polite. However, if you're giving a reason to a senpai or a work friend around the same age, this version might actually sound more natural, especially when the relationship is pretty friendly, but you just want to keep it polite just because they're older than you, or it's still a work setting. The last one is 雨が降るから閉める. This is by far the most natural way to give a reason to friends in a completely casual setting. So you can use this version anytime with your close friends. Now, as a little bonus, I want to introduce んで. 雨が降るんで閉めます. んで is the spoken version of ので. So this is still polite, but it feels more friendly. So if the person is someone you obviously have to use ので, but you're very close, then you might use んで in conversation. But since it's a spoken version, we usually avoid using it in writing. As an example, I often use nde when I give a reason to a senior colleague who's about 10 years older than me because she's very friendly and we sometimes hang out outside of work. But when I give a reason to her in a text message or an email, I switch to node.